Phil.
Just in search of some new kit, if I can find it. Otherwise it's going to be a cold day.
We got the first day of training coming at you in the next hour and 45 minutes. A couple things. First thing about today is I want to answer a question that Mark posted on Patreon. There's a straggler, a lost soul. It looks like he's lost. Like they left him out of the asylum. So, Mark posted on Patreon a question about what feedback I give athletes because they go by so quick and it's very short term. So I'm going to explain that today at training. And thing number two, Sabine asked to show a little more of the training. And it's something I take for granted, but I find the sport really interesting. So I'm going to show more training as well, because it's nuts what they do, how fast they go, the demands and all of that. So I'm going to attempt to answer both of those today. Look at Dave Grishchishin. Canada Dave. Okay, so this isn't necessarily the best depiction of what a coach is looking for because no one really cares about this section of corner 9. But to answer Mark's question about what kind of feedback, what you're seeing, because coaches only see the athletes for a very split-second period of time, is you're going to see him come through and you're going to notice a sled angle, you're going to notice a height, you're going to notice how they get to height, if it's fast, if it's slow, if it looks controlled. Over time and repetition, you're going to be able to see body nuances that give away what the athlete is experiencing and trying to do. That amount of time that just happened is all that a coach gets to see as the athlete goes through and goes around. And so to be as simple and basic as possible, principles of skeleton are this. When the athlete is climbing in a corner, they're losing speed, fighting gravity to gain elevation, slowing themselves down. They're going to do that until they climb to a point where they have lost enough velocity that they will start to fall. As they fall, they pick up speed, gaining velocity to a point, again, maybe if the corner is long enough, where they will overpower gravity and want to go in a straight line, which is up at this point. So here we go again. So if you watch an athlete and you see them get picked up really fast, almost it looks to anyone as if it was out of control. It was. Coaching feedback number 1, you missed the timing. If an athlete comes in and instead of climbing normally, their nose points down, not parallel and up, feedback 2, you steered too hard. The only thing you're looking for is, I say, parallelity. The sled staying here. If the sled goes up, they need to steer down until here. If the sled is pointing down, they need to steer up until here. That's the secret to skeleton. That's it. Now, it seems simple, but in all things in life, the more simple something seems in premise, the harder it is to execute. That's the essence of a coach. That's the essence of what a coach is doing, what the coach is looking for as the athlete goes down. Even though we only see them for 0.2 of a second to 1.2 seconds, there's a lot you can learn. Watch. Perfect example. There was this that happened. The sport is a massive web of consequence-based living. If this, then that. And there are a multitude of variables that happen that athletes have to manage and mitigate. So that's the kind of feedback that you're giving an athlete, that you're looking for. That's the physical stuff. The side of coaching that I'm most interested in is the mental side of it, so that athletes can perceive more than their brain will let them, because all of this sport is fight or flight. There's nothing natural about laying on a glorified lunch tray, going down an iced water slide in the winter at speeds of 130 kilometers an hour. Nothing about that is normal. And the more you can come to terms with that and relax mentally, the more you can observe, the more you can feel, the more you can execute. So if you can tap into what I call a language of skeleton, and start speaking that, you can slide any track at any time because you're speaking the language. But each track is a different language with same fundamental conversation pieces. That's what I love the most. That's what I love breaking down in athletes. And that's the stuff I spend the most time talking about in feedback. That's Sungmin Yoon, Korean. He's favored to medals. So that's the coaching aspect I love. So my feedback is less of do this, do that. I think that's old school. It has its benefits, but I think the better aspect is how did that feel? Did you pick this up? Did you know you were not parallel? Or did you know you were 2 inches off the perfect entry? All of these things that are happening in split seconds. That's the stuff I'm most passionate about. I could talk for hours about it. Oh, that's the stuff I love. That's the feedback. Back to some more sliding. Back from training now for a little while. Can you see jet lag in my face? At 7:30 p.m. local time, the IOC is going live in a press conference that we'll be watching. We're going to find out today if Russia is going to be banned from the Olympics as a nation. And we're going to find out in an hour and a half or so. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. No matter what happens, the fallout is going to be ugly. And I don't want that. I think I have like a loss aversion or a fear of conflict, fear avoidance, conflict avoidance to a T. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So nervous. I don't know what's happening. It's after 7:30. Nothing's on yet. I've got it on YouTube here. The TV is there playing Not It right now. But on a positive note, look at this. Dinner. Jackie? Holly? We're stoked. Spare ribs. These are the spare ones.
Welcome to this press conference. The EB, the Executive Board of the IOC, has finished its deliberations for the day. We've been looking into the findings and recommendations of the Schmidt Commission. I have with me, as you can see, the President of the IOC, Thomas Bach, and the former President of the Swiss Confederation, Samuel Schmidt.